Welcome to another edition of Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast, with your host, Brandon Morrell.
Hey, y'all, this is Mark Batson.
And this is Chris Hanebutt.
And you're listening to a grand slam of music, sports, and entertainment. It's the award-nominated Backstage Pass podcast with Brandon Morrell on KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network. Stream the show anytime at the sportsguyspodcast.com and on iHeartRadio Podcast. You can also stream at thwn.org.
And welcome inside the Backstage Pass, a busy day full of shows, and Turkey Day coming up around the corner. If you guys are having that great Turkey Day too, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there too. All across our affiliates, our stations, and everybody in podcast land on iHeartRadio Podcast, and of course thwn.org, and powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com, and of course our affiliates out there, KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network. Brandon Morrell here, and of course we do a lot of different recording artists out there too. But it's always good to give back to the songwriters, the composers, and everybody who does a little bit of everything in the music business. And to do that today here on the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. Pleased to welcome in big-time composers out there, too. They've done it all in the feature film days, too. And, of course, a lot of different music cuts. Worked on a lot of records out there and albums sold. Mark Batson, Chris Hanebutt to the show. Guys, what's going on?
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Brandon.
You got it. Well, Mark, let's kind of start right there, too. I love the fact is, we can talk about the track records all day, too, but I want to get to know how you guys have met on this. I mean, Mark, you've done 6 Grammy Award-winning albums, too, and I know you grew up kind of a classically trained pianist and producer. I mean, 132 million albums sold. Your track record speaks for itself. Chris has been a composer, a producer, and a mixer, and who's done a lot of things. Talk about just how you guys met to collaborate on these projects we're going to be talking about today.
We have a mutual friend who's a singer and songwriter named Solani, and she connected me and Chris. We kind of hung out for years and worked on a bunch of different projects. And maybe a couple years back, Chris came to me and said if I wanted to join him to work on Power Force. So we decided to collaborate on that. It's been an awesome experience. We're 3 years in and to making an awesome soundtrack, which is going to be the first score soundtrack released from the Power franchise, because a lot of people think the score is really exceptional. We continued on. We've also been scoring movies. We scored 2 documentaries over the last 2 years. One of them is The Alabama Solution, which was an expose on Alabama prisons and some very corrupt things that go on behind these doors. And the other one was called One Person, One Vote. And it was a documentary about explaining the Electoral College and how the Electoral College came about and why it possibly is outdated model for politics. And that kind of encompasses our how we met, and we just work on a bunch of different things together. Chris is compliments what I do in a great way. He's a genius at what he does as a fantastic guitarist, fantastic songwriter, and also fantastic engineer, and that complements what I do as a pianist.
Chris, you talked about that too. I was reading somewhere you first moved to Los Angeles there a while back, and Joseph Sikora is a big-time actor there too. He's done a lot of things out there for films and things like that. Talk about that relationship too, and getting into this to kind of build on Power Book 4, this 4 series. I'm into it. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah. Wow, you did research. Yeah. So Joseph, the funny thing is when I first moved to Los Angeles, like just over 20 years ago, I went and helped this guy Justin Rhodes, who's like a really fantastic screenwriter. And at the time, he was in school working on his like final project. And the actor that was in his final school project that was helping out was Joseph Sikora. So Joseph was like one of the first people that I met when I moved to Los Angeles. And we watched the Academy Awards together that year. And, he just like a young actor in the same way that I was just moving to Los Angeles as like a young musician. And I knew nobody. And so it was very full circle because I watched his career over those years. Him just, getting bigger and bigger parts. And then it was really awesome for us to, be able to, the first show that, at least that I'd had a lot of cuts in shows and cuts in movies, but I'd never had a show that, was fully ours, like where it was like, okay, this is our scoring project. And for it to be Joseph's first, where, it's like his show, he's executive producer on it. He's like the main star on it. It was very, it was a big full circle moment for me.
Yeah, you've both done a lot in your career. Mark, I mentioned there too, just huge statistics out there too, looking back at it. I mean, 132 million albums sold as pianist, producer, things like that. And, collaborating with these great icons, Mark, such as Eminem and Beyonce and Jay-Z, Alicia Keys. What are you most proud of, Mark, just in your career, and the fact that to be able to share this talent with other people that you have and also collaborate with some of the biggest artists, nationwide?
I think what I'm most proud of is being able to work with these really super creative, genius artists and be able to help them with their visions. When I first started out, I had a rap group with my brother. It's called Get Set VOP. We were signed to Polygram, to Polydor Records, and the record didn't do well. It was a really tough experience. And then from that point on, I moved more behind developing and helping other artists so that they would not make the same mistakes that I did. So that early in my career, that was working with India Ari, who signed to Motown on her first album, Crafting the South for Anthony Hamilton for his first album. These were artists that did not necessarily fit into the machinery, the music business machinery comfortable. They had their own unique and distinct thing. And so I'm most proud of helping artists like that be heard, artists that don't really fit in the box, artists that do different things. And then also to be in the same room with talents on the level of, Eminem, or talents on the level of Alicia Keys. We're talking some of the most prolific artists and most talented artists on the planet Earth. So to be in the room with them is a lot of pride. It's a lot of honor, and I'm very thankful and grateful about it.
Mark, I didn't know that about you and your brother. I never knew that. One thing about you, Mark, that I've just watched and that I really admire about your work with the artists that you work with is all of them are your friends. You make these artists that, there's busy and bouncing from thing to thing, but like you build relationships with these artists in a way that sets you apart. Like your, for lack of a better term, your bedside manner, really, that on top of how awesome of a musician you are, it's like that, right? That is what really separates you, in my opinion, is that right there. Like the love that you have for them and the love that they have for you, that then you have these like lifetime friendships with, with Dave and like Dave Matthews and all the other artists, like they love you. And that is just from an outsider's perspective is I think the most impressive thing to me is the relationships that you build with the people that you work with. I mean, with ours, yours and my relationship too, but just that you're at the heart of all of it. You are a relationship guy without a doubt.
That's pretty awesome, Chris. Thank you so much. Again, it goes back to me wanting to nurture artists and get the best out of them and not make the same mistakes per se that I made early on when I got into the record business. So I just kind of see people that need a hand at what they do. And it could be somebody who's highly skilled and they still need that support system. So I think part of being a producer is not just being about being a great musician or hearing the right notes. It's also kind of being a therapist as well, and being in a position to supply emotional and spiritual support to the artist that you're working with.
Yeah, I can vouch for that support.
Yeah, this PowerBook 4 Force, part of that Power franchise, got more than over 1.6 billion hours viewed globally. I mean, you think back about this project. I'm getting into it, right now with episodes and things like that. For people to check out their streaming services out there too. Chris, talk about just the hours viewed on something that's very interesting too, and of course the composition is fantastic with it too. But I love these because any of these documentaries that people get into, just like for anything, could be an artist, could be a series, anything like that. It's got to have the information and kind of like a good song. It's got to have those hooks in it, and you guys definitely have, I think, really planted the hooks in people that keep them tuned into a series like this. Chris?
Yeah, we're very fortunate to be able to work on a brand like Power. I mean, it's just like there's like the saying we always say, power never dies. It's gonna, there's never a time somebody's not watching it in the world. It's just it's like the gift that keeps on giving. So to be able to put a sonic fingerprint on something like that, and especially with Force, because it's the biggest, it's just action. There's so much action in it. So it's really great practice for us too, because it's kind of like just a lot of different blockbusters thrown together, right? It's like every episode has the full, it's gunfights and explosions. It's like, and then the chill scene. So we get to really stretch a lot. And it's great for us as we continue to move into doing bigger films. The more blockbuster vibe. So it's been really a lot of fun. And a great learning experience too. Because again, it was my first full show. So I've learned a lot through the process.
Yeah, I love the other one too. Like I said, looking back, the HBO documentary, you talked about this a little bit, Mark. We started there, the Alabama Solution, which is now HBO Max. Critical acclaim, the Sundance Film Festival early this year, and now is nominated for 5 Critics' Choice Awards.
It won.
It's awesome. Yeah.
It won best
political documentary.
Yeah.
I've not seen that one yet too. I've got to dive into this one. Mark, how did this one come about here? And also for you guys, I mean, to get the word back in this, ever changing, tough industry when it comes down to it, for composing to being a recording artist to working on any type of, digital media projects, getting back those Critics' Choice Awards and winning one had to be exciting.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I worked closely with a music supervisor named Sue Jacobs. We've worked on a bunch of films together, like I, Tanya, which won an Oscar, and also American Hustle, which won Best Picture at the Golden Globes. So we've been collaborating on different projects. And she would call me about this Alabama Solution. And so I met with Andrew Jarecki and Charlotte Kaufman, who spent 6 years working on this film. And the idea of the film was that there were people who were incarcerated, men who were incarcerated, who had got cell phones inside and were filming atrocities that take place that were on a Guantanamo Bay level of atrocities. And it also affirmed that slavery still exists in America, and that there were people who were enslaved, basically, who were working under those conditions, who would be violent, who could be violently punished or killed if they didn't follow these orders to a T. So they worked on it for 6 years, 6 difficult years of gathering footage and interviews and experiencing some outrageous situations, including following the story of one particular correction officer murdering one of the men in the facility. So they kind of follow and tell that story, but also on their site, the Alabama Solution, you see that the story, these atrocious stories that they told in the movie are just a tip of the iceberg of the thousands of other cases that you can investigate on their page. So I called Chris, to come in and to work with me on this. We make a great team at scoring, and does a lot of beautiful, fantastic guitars that help to tell the story of that region and that vibe. And we did a lot of music for it, a lot of great music for it. It was a very painful process to have to be in the experience of real life experiences. And for myself, it's wound up in the long run, I feel, to be the most important project that I've ever made.
And coming together, Chris, go ahead and talk about that too. Just a really another special project too, and also trying, like you mentioned there too, for this one, available now to stream on HBO Max for the Alabama Solution. Your favorite parts of really, kind of exposing something that really needed to be kind of brought to attention.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with Mark. I mean, it's the most important project that I've ever been a part of. I mean, as musicians, it's like I feel like sometimes it's kind of rare, or it's just as an artist at anything to be a part of something that is so much bigger than what you're than just the work. It's a legacy project. Like I feel like if I never worked on another project again, and I would, and I got to say, at least I worked on this project right here, I'd be good with that. Like it means that much to me, because it's rare to be able to be a part of something that's meaningful. Yeah, I mean, the movie's very heavy. I mean, to see what the men endure and to see what their families endure, and it's also incredibly inspiring because there's a lot of heroes in this film, really brave men and women that are just taking it one day at a time and using nonviolence as their method to get the word out there. And the only thing that they're asking for is a little bit of transparency. I mean, you could have journalists can go into a war zone and film what's going on, but they can't go in, and there's no transparency in our criminal justice system in the United States. And I mean, there's a lot of people. Lots of people are getting murdered and disappeared, and ODing, and it's really horrific that, and we're paying for it. So it was, and creatively, it was a really fun experience because it was challenging. The directors had a very particular thing that they wanted. And it's because it's so emotional. This is their baby. It was difficult, and we really worked very hard, hand in hand with them, to deliver exactly what they wanted, without overselling the emotion and staying understated. But then us still figuring out our sonic textures, and used lots of guitars, piano, live strings, metal percussion. We wanted it was very important for it to kind of sound like a machine, because like Andrew says the way that he describes the Alabama Department of Corrections is that it's a murder machine. And it was that was a theme that we kept discussing. It's like, it needs to sound like, if we can make it sound like a machine, like it's constantly moving, that was the goal at the end of the day. And I think we did that. Like I'm really happy with it, and we'll be releasing that soundtrack. We're working on it now, to also have a soundtrack album for Alabama Solution.
Yeah, definitely a call for that accountability and reform too. Can't wait to check that out too as well. You guys can check out the Alabama Solution there too. Mark Batson, Chris Hanebutt joining us here on the Backstage Pass. Mark, I wanted to ask you about this one too, because just kind of a question to throw out there too about how the industry has changed so much. You mentioned you're working on 6 of those Grammy award-winning albums too, and doing things, being a producer. I love the fact is that there's pros and cons to both of it, but kind of a two-parter here, and we'll start with this one, Mark. The collaboration in music today, to see a lot of the artists, no matter what genre of music, kind of crossover. And I do interview a lot more country artists here on the program, because they're in the show is well known in Nashville, Tennessee, and we go there for a couple of major events from throughout the years and things like that. But it's kind of cool to see that some of the artists like Akon crosses over now, working with Gary LaVox of Rascal Flatts, and you see just different things that are going on. I want to ask you about the crossover there and the collaboration that you're seeing with different genres of music, Mark, and kind of get your opinion on that.
I absolutely love it. I think that there's only, for me personally, one music. I see it as one big continuum of ideas that continuously share off of each other and borrow from each other. And I think it's always good when people culturally come together to share their ideas. I think it's part of unifying. It has a very unifying quality. Music brings people together in general, and these things can break boundaries. There's a lot of boundaries that are up. Social media creates a lot of boundaries. People get into their own worlds, and then they have their echo chambers inside of their world, and sometimes those worlds start to separate and become smaller and smaller and more divisive. And so there's a lot of separation that's the social media stokes, and it puts people on opposite sides, and then they argue, and then the apps itself, whatever outrage is out there, they use that outrage to keep people engaged. So with that being out, in the world so much right now, the idea that there could be some, music, this spiritual force that could cross those boundaries and bring people together, I think it's more needed now than ever before. We need more country rap projects. We need more reggae pop projects. We need more different styles, more jazz meets jazz and classical artists coming together, putting people of different cultures inside of venues together to bring them into real life and a little bit off of the phone. Because if you live in the world of your phone, you could think that, that everybody's angry at each other, that everybody hates each other. And then as soon as you go outside, you go, wow, you go to a festival or something, they go like, no, that's not real. And I think music is a great force to bring people together like that, and to also counteract a lot of the negativity that has been born in the social media age.
Yeah, Chris, would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't even really have much to add to that.
I know you explained it.
Yeah.
I was actually watching the CMA Awards the other night too, and I thought it was kind of cool because you see Big X the Plug and Luke Combs, collaborating with a song there too. I mean, Big X the Plug is now taken over and done his thing as producer, just songwriter, composer. I mean, he's done it all in the industry too, and he's still keeping his name, out there too. And I think the crossover too gives it, because I love that variety is kind of like the spice of life. We're all on our phones in this digital age now, and that leads me to my next question. And I'll start with this one, Chris. Like, how much AI has impacted this now from the music industry? And they keep saying, well, it's going to take away from the songwriter, it's going to take away from the recording of the song. I mean, AI is around to stay, whether we like it or not. We're coming up as we're all using different pieces and parts of it. I mean, Chat GPT now, how technology has changed what you guys do. And I guess kind of when you weigh the pros and cons, Chris, what are kind of those pros and cons in the music industry for AI? Because it's here to stay.
Definitely. I'm glad that you brought this up. I have a few things to talk about that. Bluntly, there's not a whole lot more that can be taken from songwriters in today's industry. I mean, it's a very, very, very tough way to make a living. I mean, you have to have the number one smash, on a record. It's like getting a cut on an album now. You don't make anything off of it as a songwriter. So it's already very, very difficult. The article that came out a couple of weeks ago, what was it, last week or week before, where they were talking about the country band that had a number one song on the Billboard digital download chart. I feel like Mark and I were talking about this, and like my thing about that is it's not even a story about AI. It's actually, to me, a story of how corrupt the list is, because I mean, it's a downloadable, like, who downloads digital, really, who downloads digital anyways? Everybody streams. So it's so manipulated that it's just a self-feed. It's just for press, right? Like it's just a way of saying, okay, we'll buy. I think they said, I read that it could have been as few as like 6,000 downloads in a week. So, they spend $10,000, they buy the downloads, and now they got a number one Billboard with an AI band, right? And then they just put it in all the industry press, and then it gets people to go to Spotify to listen to it. And so it's really kind of an indictment on how that part of the system works, more than that is sad or exciting, depending on how you look at it, that an AI band is number one on Billboard. I mean, it's kind of it's a farce. As for how we use AI, personally, I use it as a sounding board, I would say. Like, I'll write a song, play the piano part, come up with the demo with the melodies, come up with half the lyrics, work out some of the production, upload it, and then see what direction I'd like to take it. Because, it takes a long time to demo out. And I don't, if you go to try different styles, it takes some time. So it's nice to have it as that and back and forth. And maybe if you like some of what it does, you import that. But I replace everything. I replay it. Yeah, I like to replay everything, or hire musicians to replay stuff, and because it doesn't do that. It's a great source of additional inspiration, I think, and it's fun. It definitely is fun to play with. And I've had two, like, I'm working on a commercial spot right now, and it was an AI song. Like they brought something that was demoed out with AI, and they were like, this needs to be redone by humans. So it's a weird world.
It is too, and people have to realize too. And I'm all about the songwriters, Mark. When I look back at it too, because you're right, it's like pennies on the dollar, if that, based on the number of streams and things like that. But I'm all about like the songwriters getting paid, like you guys, coming up with the music. Because when I watch something, whether it be these docu-series or things like that, or something like A Force out there too, or One Person, One Vote, or the Alabama Solution, like the music to me draws me into a composition or a docu-series or documentary or just a movie. Because I went and saw the Wicked one yesterday. My wife was like, let's go see it. Well, I was like, man, I'm just much into the music as I am the dialogue in a movie. And I kind of feel like the songwriters are just as important, Mark, as the person is recording the song for the movie.
Definitely. The songwriters are very important. There's a revolution, a digital revolution taking place overall. And so we, as musicians, we can take a look and see how it's happening in music. And the thing about it with the music is that using digital computers to create what humans do has been going on for quite some time. There's programs like Fruity Loops, or even in Ableton, where the computer will, kick you unlimited drum loops until you find things that you like, or in the sense of Fruity Loops, you're just dragging computer-made information into files and making records. So people have been producing records like that for quite some time. Now the AI is taking another giant step forward, where it could, create the entire song for people. For myself, the way I use it is to expand on my demos. So there's certain, if I'm writing a song, but I want a female singer to sing it, I can write my part and then I can upload it and just change the vocal to a female singer, or any ideas that I may have. It helps to implement them. And so, for my students, I teach at USC 1 day a week, and I tell them, some of them go like, I'm not really into AI. I don't want to use AI. I just want to just do my music. And I say, just be aware of it. Because a 13 or 14-year-old who's just starting to make music today, they're going to be using it to make their music. And so, 5 to 6 years from now, when those people who started at 13 become 18, they're the ones that people are going to be competing with. So you don't want to fall behind technically at any point. This started for me with Napster, because when Napster first came out, I was furious because this is a time period where we're making, an album has 13 songs on it, and it costs $12 or $13. So it's costing $1 to listen to have access to a person's song. And so everybody had to pay that dollar. So if 1 million people wanted to listen to that song or have that song in their possession, then that would be $1 million for people to split. And this is the industry that I came into. So here we got Napster. They're like, okay, now it's free. You can get your music files, just download whatever album. So I went to organize artists and talk to artists and producers about protesting this thing. It started out, there was a little bit of heat, but that heat fizzled out pretty quickly, and it was left down to myself and a lawyer who was a friend of mine, who told me at that point, said, Mark, I'm gonna tell you about technology. Technology is like a steamroller. Either you're driving it or it's running over you. And from that point on, I said, okay, I gave up and I would, left the fight against Napster and just joined into the modern age. And so for me, whenever something comes out new, I just see, okay, how can it be used? How can it be utilized? How can it be utilized ethically? I think in the case of the streaming services, it's a dangerous mechanism because they have the access to the most powerful playlists. So Spotify can per se have a playlist, put Beyonce song on there, put a Drake song on there, put a Taylor Swift song on their playlist, and then add 2 of their own AI songs onto that playlist. And then people are just going to be listening and streaming those songs. But then once that happens, if Spotify owns the AI artist, then they don't have to pay anybody, for that. And then that could grow. So what happens when it's 5 AI artists on the playlist and 5 real artists, and then Spotify is just generating half of the funds to go right back into their pockets and not into the hands of working artists and human beings. So there has to be some ethical questions answered. I think what I'm seeing in the future is there's going to be places that says there's no AI allowed in this place. So there'll be music places you can go to where they'll say, you can't upload an AI song here. You can only have it here. But that day hasn't come yet. So now we're in the wild, wild west era of AI. And so, again, I appreciate that now people who never got a chance to create in the past now have the opportunity to create. I can appreciate that. But I also see the dangers of more artists and more songwriters being squeezed out of the profits.
Yeah. They really summed it up there too. And like I said, it's here to stay. And like I said, we use it for some aspects of even my show too at the same time. But I kind of draw the line with some things that you want to do yourself and the original creativity of it. And then of course, looking back at it too, that can help you kind of, write some things out there, compose some things that, make sure it has a good frame of body work too. But as far as like machines and robots trying to sit there and do the work for me, I'd rather just put my hands, get it dirty. And like you said, you guys have done throughout your career, be able to do as much as you can yourself and just kind of use it as basically kind of as a scaffold there too at the same time. So I think it's definitely here to stay. I wanted to ask you, Chris, about like I said, with the holidays coming up. I know, Mark, we were talking about this a little bit off the air earlier, just kind of looking forward to like the downtime, and you guys are so busy with all these great projects that are going on right now too. What are you most looking forward to, Chris, for the holidays? Is it spending time with family?
Yeah. Before I get to that, I just have one more thing about the AI stuff. The one really great thing that I'm noticing that AI does do, though, as I work with other artists and work with other musicians, as this happens, is it allows musicianship to shine. Like being able to pick up an instrument and play and practice your instrument and be great at it and be able to do it in a room with other people. Now it's like, oh, it's even better. You're like even more, you're like super unicorn now, right? Because so many people are just like, it's a crutch. If you use it as a crutch, it's a problem. And so that part of it is really great because like it just allows the cream to rise. Like if you can play, I feel like it's a huge asset to have. And AI only makes it more glaring. To be able to do it. I mean, I'm already seeing it. The sound of it, even the sound of what the AI pumps out. It's like, it's already, I can hear it. You know what I mean? It's like, I know it's just getting started in a lot of, but it already to me, when I hear it, feels dated. And I don't understand. That's the best way that I can put it. Even when it pumps out, and I love what it pumps out, I still feel like it's dated. I don't know why that is. I'm in the minority on that probably, but anyways, okay. So what am I looking most forward to? Downtime. I'm looking forward to relaxing. My wife and I kind of already started some of that relaxing over the weekend. We started our holidays early, and I'm looking forward to relaxing. I'm gonna be playing a lot just for fun. Like I'm gonna be practicing a lot, and I'll be in the studio every day during the holidays. But just for me, I have some songs that I'm working on, and some other non-music related projects that like I want to sit down and focus on and have fun with. And we're not traveling this year. A lot of times we travel, but we're staying home and gonna just eat and relax and enjoy each other's company.
No doubt. I think that's always a fun time. Mark, for you, and you were telling before the show a little bit of that R&R, because we work so much and we get carried away. It's hard to find that balance between work life and family life, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's why the holiday is always good. A good opportunity to catch up with family and just get in touch with your roots and the things that are the most important in life. And I always look forward to that time.
I'll tell you what, these are fantastic projects. One that I'm already into, a couple of more I got to get into. It's PowerBook 4 Force, part of the Power franchise. Got over 1.6 billion hours viewed globally there on Stars. Of course, the LA Law reboot pilot, the political documentary, One Person, One Vote, and HBO's The Alabama Solution out there too, which premiered to critical acclaim there too at that Sundance Film Festival. You guys can check out all these great projects out there too across your streaming platforms. Always great to catch up with two of the best, Mark Batson and Chris Hanebutt out there. Guys, appreciate you being with us, and happy holidays to you and your family, and looking forward to many more great things happening in the careers that you guys already have out there, Hall of Fame careers, and many more great things coming. We appreciate you so much.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brandon. It was great to be on, man.
Yes, sir. You got it. Chris Hanebutt, Mark Batson out there, too. And, of course, more great artists coming up over the next few weeks here, too. Happy holidays to everybody out there, too. From the Backstage Pass, KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network, THWN.org, and powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Now top search on iHeartRadio podcast. We'll see you soon. God bless. Take care.
Hey, y'all, this is Chandler Marie, and you're listening to the award-nominated Backstage Pass on KYBN 98.1, your Bay Area Broadcasting Network. You can listen to on THWN.org and on iHeartRadio podcasts and anytime at the SportsGuysPodcast.com.